Hey, London. Not sure who that is, but hello. So, if you're in live, I'm also on Teams. If you want to join me on Teams, you can. We'll get going in a few minutes. Okay. No problem. I see you in Teams. Hey, Miss Eastside. So if you want to join the Teams, feel free. We'll get started right at 1. We're going to be in our new packets for weeks 4 and 5. So if you have that, make sure you have that with you. We're going to be in the new package for weeks 4 and 5. Again, for everybody who's in, you can join me on Teams if you'd like. So if you were following my page, I put up a reminder that the first assignment was going to be our do nows, the article, 3 economic questions. 3 economic questions. I'm going to zoom in and blow it up in just a minute. So again, if you want to join me on Teams, feel free. And we're doing a few things here. We'll get started right at 1 in 1 minute. All right, so your due now, it's 1 o'clock, we'll get started. Let me check and see if anybody's in Teams. No one yet. All right, so for the people that do join, we'll have it. I'm going to record and share. All right, so for the people who do have the packet, Alexis, we're in the packet for weeks 4 and 5. I'm going to show you the screen in just a minute. But your do now question, that first question was to write a tweet summary of the article. The article is called 3 Questions About Economics. Let me come back out just so I can show it. Hey, Kinaja. So the front of your packet should look like that. It should have a picture of the European Union flag with the other European countries' flags behind it. It's going to be Unit 6, Cost and Benefits of Unity in Europe. All right, and it's our distance learning plan for weeks 4 and 5. This is the one we'll be using for this week and next week. You can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Kenaja, you can't hear me on the computer? I'm sorry, just making sure that everybody can hear me. Kenaja, you can't hear me on the computer?
I can hear you now.
You hear me now? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go back to the screen with the packet just to make sure everybody knows what we're doing. But this is the packet we're going to be using. It's Unit 6. Hey, Kenaja, go ahead and mute again for me, please. I'm going to have you jump in once we start going over the material. All right, so this is the packet we're going to be using, Unit 6. It's for Europe. All right, it's going to be for Europe. The learning plan on page 2 kind of gives you a breakdown of what you're going to be doing. There's 17 pages in the learning plan. Alexis, did you see the cover of the packet? It's got the flags on it. No, we're not on week 1 anymore, Jayon. We are in week 4. We're in the new packet. So we're not in a spring break. We're not in the religious freedom packet. We're going to be in Unit 6 packet with Europe. Okay. But if you go to page 2, it kind of gives you a breakdown of what's supposed to be happening. So these learning plans are broken down into 2 weeks with the idea that you work for 4 days out of the week. I'm going to share on today. Okay, Alexis, so it'll be at the school either today or you can go to Baloo on Friday and get it. If you want me to, I can send you an email copy. And again, if that's what you need, I will take care of that. But just send me a direct message after so I can get it to you. I'm going to write that down now. Alexis needs one. All right, so we're on the packet that's entitled "Should Governments or Markets Control the Economy?" Okay, so there's a few tasks that you must do, and the idea is that you get them done on this pace. Okay, but I'm going to show you a little something different to help you with that. Let me stop sharing my screen so the people on Teams can see it. Don't see it. Nope, it's not what I want. All right, let me see if I can get it. My Teams people, bear with me. I'm just trying to make this thing work. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to put this on my page. I'm going to put this on my page, and this is going to be the pace that you all should take. So it was supposed to be due first, but there's an article called 3 Questions About Economics or the Economy, right? Your assignment is to tweet a summary of the article. You're not actually going to put it on Twitter, but there on page 3, there's an article, and we're going to kind of go over it a little bit in just a second. And then on page 4, there's kind of a tweet template, and you're going to write a quick summary about the 3 questions article. Okay, we are going to review it a little bit together today, but you need to do that on your own and then send it to me, preferably by Thursday. Okay, so the way this chart's set up, it has 4 columns. The first one's going to be the assignment that's due. The second column is going to be the page you can find it on. The third column is going to be whether you need to do it on your own or whether we're going to do it together. When it says together, that means on the live session, we are going to be working on that day. And then the due date, these are the dates that I would prefer you have it to me so I can give you credit for it. Okay, so assignment, the number of the page number of the assignments are on, whether you're going to do it together or on your own, and the due date. We're going to go over the first three pieces. We're going to do the first three pieces and kind of moving into next week. So on page 3 is an article and page 4 is a tweet summary. You're going to put together that summary. You don't have to do it on the template. You can type it in a text and send it to me in a DM. You can type it in the message. Doesn't matter. You can write it out on paper, take a picture of it and send it to me in a direct message. But we want to try to have it done by Thursday. You get it to me by Thursday, we get you all squared away. Okay, try to get it to me by Thursday. I can get you credit. All right. What we're going to work on today is source B. So source A was the article for the tweet summary. We're going to work on source B together, and then C you're going to work on your own. So source B, you're supposed to annotate and then complete the graphic organizer. And then source C, you'll annotate and complete the graphic organizer on your own. Right here, source B is found on page 5. Source C is on pages 6 and 7. And then the graphic organizer that you'll fill out is on page 8. So we're going to do source B together today, which is 421. You're going to do source C on your own between now and Thursday. And then we'll do a quick review on Thursday of source C. And then you want to get everything submitted to me by Friday. You get it to me submitted by Friday, I can go ahead and put it in. Friday is records day. I always put in the grades and update the grades by Friday. On the same page, page 8, there's a because, but, so sentence completion. All right. Because, but, so it starts off with a sentence. Those sentences end with because, but, or so. All right. And it's on page 8. You're going to do that on your own over the weekend. All right. If you want to do all of the things you're supposed to do on your own today, that's fine. You want to do it today and tomorrow, that's fine. But if you can get it done by Monday, so you don't overwhelm yourself with a lot of work. OK, again, I'm going to post this chart on my page and I'll put it in Teams and on Canvas. But this is kind of your pace for this learning plan. OK, this is the kind of on pace for this learning plan. OK, I'm glad you found it, Alexis. So that makes it a lot easier for you to follow along today. So let me stop sharing so the people in Teams can see it. So the distance learning plan, again, right here, has the flags on the front, kind of the pace with the tasks. This first article, 3 economic questions, all right? 3 economic questions, and then the tweet summary, all right? It has literally 280 little dashes, and those are all the spaces you have for a tweet. If you have Twitter, you know that it's 280 characters or less, and that includes spaces and punctuation, all right? We want to keep that in mind. If you can do it in less than 280 characters, that's great. What we're going to be looking at today is source B, and that's going to be on page 5. We're actually going to read through this article together. And then we're going to go down to page 8, and we're going to fill out the graphic organizer for this page. Okay, we're going to fill out this graphic organizer today. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our learning plan. All right. So the 3 questions from our article. Our Kenaz, actually, you want to read our 3 questions? And if anybody wants to jump in on live, you can go ahead and request, and I'll add you to the live. Go ahead, Kenaz. What are the 3 questions from our first article?
What goods and services should be produced? How should the good and service be produced?
And then the last one down here.
Who will benefit from or get the goods and service?
All right. So in that first article, it's really breaking down that the kind of economies that exist.
We on page 5, right?
So not yet. We're still on that first. It should be page 3. We're just gonna do a quick recap before we get into page 5. So these 3 questions are on page 3. Okay. So we're talking about economic systems, and what do we remember about anything dealing with economic or economy? What does it have to do with? Go ahead and put it in the comments or the chat on Teams. When we say economy or economic, what are we dealing with? Go ahead and put it in the comments for me. When we say economy or economic, what are we talking about? Put it in the comments for me.
Resources.
Put it.
Resources or population.
All right, so put it in the comments for me, even in Teams. Put it in the chat, because we want to give everybody, including the people on live. So when we say economy or economic, we're always thinking about this one specific thing. Let me see if we got it. Not resources and population. It's something you all like a little bit better than resources and population. When we're dealing with economy or economics. Nope, not plant life. You all love this. You all wish you had more of this. You all beg your parents for this. When you're dealing with the economy, there's one word that we always should think about. I'm kind of disappointed because we talked about it all the time. Think about economic activities. Right? It was land use and resources, but what was the point of it? Brooklyn jumped in with it. Money and food. Brooklyn, you love food. You love to beg for your parents for food. Yes, Miss Harvey. It is money, right? When you're talking about economics, you're talking about money, right? So our unit is Europe. We're talking about Europe. We're looking at economic systems using Europe as the example. All right. So our compelling question is, should governments or markets control the economy? Should governments or markets control the economy? That's our compelling question. That's going to drive this whole unit. OK, remember, we're answering that question about the European Union. So the European Union is a system that's made up of almost 30 different countries, right? 30 different countries. I put this little thing over here. I'm going to drag it over to the front. It doesn't include the United Kingdom anymore. They just voted to leave in January. So it's almost 30 countries, almost all the major countries in Europe, not including the United Kingdom. But when we answer this question, that's 30 different governments and 30 different markets. But when we combine them together into the European Union is the government and the market for what we're talking about today. So should governments or markets control the economy? London, would you mind unmuting your mic and reading our supporting question? Are you still there? London. You don't want to jump in? Oh, she's not there no more. That's why she can't jump in. So Zainel, read our supporting question on your screen. Our supporting question for... What's our supporting question?
Hold on for a second, Miss Allen.
All right. We got a concert going on. So, Zainab, I'm going to have Kinaja read it since she's ready to go. Kinaja, what's our supporting question on the screen?
What are the characteristics of common land and market economic system?
So we're going to be looking at command. I got it. So I had Kinaja read it so we can hear, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Is it possible to turn your music down if you have your mic unmuted?
No, that's my little sister in the
Oh,
background.
okay. All right. Well, we're going to still try to get you in here, okay? All right. So we're looking at command and market economic systems. Command and market economic systems. All right. So Zainel, can you unmute and?
Yes.
All right. So what is our objective? Trying to make it bigger for you. What's our objective?
By the end of the lesson, students will be able to read and annotate articles on command and market economies in order to compare and contrast the advantages and disadvantages of both.
All right. So what are we doing, Kinaja? What are our action words? What are we doing with this lesson?
We are reading and annotating and comparing and contrasting.
Reading and annotating, comparing and contrasting. All right. So if you're following along in your packet, this chart is going to be on page 8. All right. So let's take a look at the chart before we get started. Yours is going to look a little bit different because it'll have a column in between that says market-oriented economic systems or market-based economic systems. We're not doing that today. So the article we're doing today is command-oriented economic systems. We're going to read the article on page 5. We are going to complete this half of our graphic organizer, and then you, after this class, are going to read the article on market economies and complete the chart for market economies. Go ahead and give me some likes if you understand what you are doing today and then afterwards when we finish. So I'm going to say it one more time. Today, we are going to read command-oriented economic systems on page 5. And then we're going to complete the command side of the chart on page 8. Okay, that's what we're doing today. What you're going to do on your own is read pages 6 and 7 and complete the column for market economic systems. Cool? I saw some hearts, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it because we want to get this done. So if anybody has questions. All right. So I need everybody. What'd you say?
No questions.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and I need everybody to go to page 5. We're going to be on page 5. Again, if anybody wants to join in on live, you can. I'll add you. We are going to be looking at each paragraph.
Can I read it?
Hold on for a second. We're going to make sure everybody's on page 5. We're going to look at each of the paragraphs on page 5, and then we're going to complete our graphic organizer. Okay? So on our chart, we're looking for who decides for the 3 economic question, who makes the decisions in this type of economic system? What's the goal of this economic system? And give 2 examples of people who use that economic system. And then we're going to look for 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. All right. Michaela, it's no worries. If I'm going to post what we do today, if you send me a DM, I'll email you a copy of the packets, or I'll send you a picture of it, whatever works best for you. All right. So Brooklyn, we're on page 5. We are going to read through each paragraph, and then we're going to see if there's anything we can put into our chart. So if you have your packet, we're on page 5. If you don't, I have it on the screen. We're going to read through it, and then we're going to see if we can put anything in our chart. Okay? So I'm going to remind everybody of what we're looking for. Who makes the decisions? What's the goal? Examples, advantages, and disadvantages. We're going to look for those 5 things as we read through. Okay? So, Zainel, you asked to read.
Yep.
Brooklyn, the chart's on page 8. The chart's on page 8, but the article is on page 5. So if you don't have a packet, it's on the screen, and Zainel's going to read it for you as we go through. So Zainel, when you read, make sure you're reading louder than the music, okay? Make sure you read.
Let me go tell my little sister to turn it down.
I mean, if as long as you read nice and loud, it'll be fine. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so everybody should be on paragraph 1. Whenever you're ready, Zainel.
A command-oriented economic system is also known as a command economy. A central power decides how the society will address the 3 important economic questions. This power is usually the government. The purpose of businesses and this type of system is to produce the goods and services that the government has decided will be produced. The stated goal of many common economies is to make sure that all people have their needs met. People benefit equally from the production of goods and services. Other command economies concentrate on keeping money in their hands of the special few. Still, others concentrate on military production. One example is Nazi Germany in the 1930s.
All right, so great job. Nazi Germany. So let's remind us, we're going to look at page 8. We're looking for who makes the decisions. Go ahead and mute, Zainel. Who makes the decisions? What's the goal? Examples, advantages, and disadvantages. So let's start from the bottom. Did we have any disadvantages in that article? In that paragraph? Kinaja, were there any disadvantages mentioned in that paragraph?
No.
No disadvantages, so we don't have anything to put here. What about advantages, Kinaja? Do we see any advantages? Did they specifically mention advantages?
No.
They didn't,
Let
right?
me help her out.
No, she said it. Now, what about examples? Were there any examples of types of command, not types, but examples of command economies mentioned in that paragraph? Yes. There was. What was there?
Is Nazi Germany in the 1930s.
Nazi Germany in the 1930s. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our examples. Let me make it bigger so everybody can see.
Isn't a Nazi like a racist community?
It was, and they were responsible for the Holocaust in World War III. Not World War III, World War II. All right. So Nazi Germany in 1930 is an example. Did we get any other examples? And again,
yes.
Examples of command economies?
No, because it say it's only one example.
One example is Nazi Germany, so that's our one example. Now, did it mention the goal of a command economy? What's the goal of a command economy? And if you want to add it in the comments, you can. If you want to join me on live, you can. What is our goal? So we had our example. Is there a goal mentioned?
Yes.
All right. So what was the goal mentioned in the paragraph or goals?
The stated goal of many command economics is to make sure that all people have their needs met.
To make sure all people have their needs met. That's a great goal. All right. Any different types of goals?
Yes.
What other goals?
That a command-oriented economic system.
That's what we're looking at, a command-oriented economic system. But what are their goals? What are they trying to do with a command-oriented economic system? What's the goal? So one of the goals is to make sure all the people have their needs
Produce ideas.
Produce ideas? Where you see ideas? We're going from this first paragraph. What kind of ideas? I like the way you're thinking outside of the box, but what kind of ideas are they trying to keep up with? All right.
The society.
The society, yes. We have society up here, but our goals are down towards the bottom. They want to make sure everybody benefits equally from the services. What are the goals? What would be a selfish goal mentioned in this paragraph? Not one. So the first two we said are making sure that people get everything they need. But what would be a selfish goal mentioned in this article, in this paragraph of the article? What's a selfish goal? Not positive.
The stated goal of many command economies is to make sure that people have their met.
So if you make sure people have their needs met, is that selfish or are you helping others?
Helping
others. So what would be a selfish goal? One that's not good for everybody and only good for the people in charge. Look very closely to where we just figured it out, and you can add in the comments if you'd like.
Other command economics concentrate on keeping money in their hands of a special fee.
They try to keep money in just a few people's hands. Is that helping others?
What do we write this at?
So I'm going to show you in just a second. All right. Is there any other goals mentioned? What was the goal of Nazi Germany in the 1930s?
To be racist.
Okay. But what was the goal of their command economy? What were they trying to do? It's right here in the paragraph. I'm not asking you to think out.
Still others concentrate on military products.
They were trying to concentrate on military production. Military production, right? So we have 4 different goals. So let's go back to our chart on page 8. What are some of our goals? What do we identify? So
we identified the stated goals of many command economies to make sure that all people have their needs met.
So we're going to meet people's needs. That's our first goal. What's another goal? Mentioned in the paragraph that we just identified. So we said making sure
access is of
equal access. I love that one. I love how you broke it down too into a smaller word or phrase. Okay. What else?
To make sure, wait, hold on.
And again, if you're in the comments, go ahead and add in the comments. I have it on the screen.
Benefit equally from the products of goods, services.
Okay, so make sure everybody have equal access. What else? What was the last thing we came up with?
Keep monies in the hand of a special few.
Okay.
Military.
So money for few and military what?
Producing.
Military production.
Production.
Okay. So those are our goals of a command economic system, right?
Yes.
All right. So now we need to figure out who makes decisions in command systems. Who makes decisions in command systems? So we're going to go back to our paragraph 1.
The government.
The government, usually the government, right? Usually the government makes decisions. Okay? So let's make sure everybody has it. So usually the government makes decision in command economies. Why is it not typing? Okay. So let's see if it'll type now. Usually the government. Usually the government makes decisions in command economies. Usually the government. Okay? So we did a great job of breaking down that first paragraph. Are we finished with our graphic organizer? Are we finished with our graphic organizer?
No.
No, we're not. What do we still need?
Advantages.
Advantages and
disadvantages.
advantages and disadvantages. So what I want us to do is I want us to skip down. All right. I want us to skip down. If you read paragraph 2, it'll give you another example of a command economy. But we're going to skip down.
There, can I read it?
We're going to skip down to paragraph 3 so we can find the advantages and disadvantages. Okay? We're going to come back and we're going to get that second example in just a moment. But I want to make sure everybody within our class period has time to get what they need for the chart. Okay?
So this is a disadvantage that I just saw.
So we haven't talked at all about disadvantages or advantages yet, but we're going to do it now. So we're back on page 5. We're going to skip down to paragraph 3. Okay?
There are some advantages to this.
All right, so paragraph 3. Zainel, since you read paragraph 1, we're going to have Kenaja read paragraph 3. Okay?
All right.
Let me see if anybody else is in here. Oh, Kenya's in here too. So Kenaja, we're going to have Kenya read since she's on Teams. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, Kenya, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. I have Ramonte on live, or I should. Oh, when he joins. So, Kenya, we're on page 5 of our learning packet, and we're going to look at paragraph 3. Okay? So, can you read paragraph 3 for us, Kenya?
What's on your screen?
What's on our screen, or if you have it in front of you, you can read that too. It's the same thing.
There are some advantages to a command economic system. The government can try to make sure that citizens' needs are met because it controls production. It can also make sure that people have jobs. The government can try to make sure that citizens have fair access to resources and services. The government in command-oriented economy often pays for or directly provides services. These include healthcare and education.
All right. So, what is an advantage of the economic system? I mean, of the command economic system. What is the advantage? What'd you say?
Oh, the production.
That
the citizens have jobs.
So citizens have jobs. What else?
The government,
resources
to make sure they can have fair access to resources.
So the government makes sure they have jobs and fair access to what, Kenya?
Resources.
They have fair access to resources and services. Okay? So we got jobs and fair access. Okay? So let's go back to our chart on page 8. So Zainel said jobs. So that would be a good thing to put for advantages. Everyone has jobs. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to type. Let's see if I can do it now. Jobs. So jobs and fair access to resources and services. So one advantage is jobs. Another advantage is fair access to resources and services. Okay? Questions. If you have questions, you can put it in the chat. Okay? If not, we're going to move down to disadvantages just to make sure everybody has a chance to see what the chart should look like. So we're going to go back to page 5. And Kinaja, I'm going to have you read paragraph 5 so we can find our disadvantages. Disadvantages. So everybody should be on page 5. We're going to skip down to paragraph 5 so we can get our disadvantages. Kinaja, you with me?
Yes.
All right, so you read? Can you read paragraph 5 for me, either on your page or on the screen?
There are some advantages. There are.
It start with there are many disadvantages.
There are many disadvantages to command oriented systems. Oriented systems. The goals of these systems often is to give everyone equal access to goods and services. However, it often is difficult for a government to give out resources properly. There are sometimes too many or too few goods and services to meet people's needs. Government officials who lie or cheat might give out goods and services unfairly or to benefit themselves.
All right, so what are some disadvantages of the command system based on the paragraph? I would love for someone to join on live and tell me what some of the disadvantages are. Disadvantages. If no one joins on live, we can have somebody on Teams comment. What are the disadvantages? Give me a disadvantage.
A disadvantage?
Yeah, what's a disadvantage? What's something negative about the system?
Oriented system?
Yes, what's a negative about the command-oriented system?
It's often is difficult for government to give out resources properly.
That's a great observation. So even though their goal is something good, it's often difficult to give out resources properly. What's another disadvantage? It's not only a disadvantage, it's extremely negative, especially when with the people who make decisions. What's another disadvantage of the command system?
Government officials who lie or cheat might give out goods and services unfairly or to benefit themselves.
Exactly. So if you have people that make decisions about what gets created and what gets produced.
Hello?
I'm here.
Can you repeat what you said?
So Kenya commented that a disadvantage is government officials who lie or cheat, right? So we're going to take these two. We're going to take.
Cheat, they mean like cheat the system?
Yes, that's exactly what that means. It means they cheat to try to take advantage of the economic system, right? And it's extra difficult, it's extra negative, it's extra bad because let me get our other disadvantage. Let's copy.
That because it services benefits themselves.
Because it benefits themselves, but let me get this pasted here and then we'll talk about it, right? Who makes the decision in a command system? Look at our chart. Who makes the decisions in the command system?
Government.
The government. And if you have people in the government making the decisions and they are not honest, then they probably can make the decisions specifically to help them and not other people. So that's a negative, right? That's a huge disadvantage, right? And selfish, right? So even though their goal is to meet people's needs, if you have people that are lying and cheating, are you meeting people's needs?
No, they just making it bad on other people.
You're not, right? And yes, thank you for putting that in. They do lie or cheat, and that's a negative aspect. Okay, so
Can you go back to disadvantages?
yeah, I'll go back down. Matter of fact, let me pull this up so we can have the whole thing on one page. All right, so we have our command-oriented economic systems. One thing we forgot to do was an alternate name. What have we been calling it? What has Mr. Hamilton been calling a command-oriented economic system? What two words do I call it? All right. A command what?
Economic.
Not command economic, a command economy. Okay. So the alternate name for a command-oriented economic system is a command economy. Who makes the decisions?
The government.
The government.
Command.
What are some of the goals of a command system?
Equal access, money for fuel, military production.
All right, so it could be for military production, for equal access, money for the few, which is a negative one, or to meet people's needs. Okay, now I want us to think about what's happening right now because it's related to command economy. What's happening right now? Why are you in Mr. Hamilton's class virtually instead of in a classroom?
Because of the coronavirus.
Coronavirus, right? So coronavirus and the pandemic has caused a shortage in what? What is there a shortage of right now that we need desperately?
Food.
Is there a shortage of food?
No.
Well, technically, yes, because people keep going out buying everything.
Okay, so it might not be as much, right? It might not be what we like to eat, but is there a shortage of food?
Care?
Huh?
The shortage on a care?
The shortage on care, but why is there a shortage on care? What don't we have enough of?
Medicine.
Medicine, what else? What else do we need before we need medicine?
Well,
what else do we need before we need medicine to treat people with the coronavirus? How do we know if they have it?
We need a care.
We need care, but how do we know if they have it?
Testing them what they be doing, what they use, they put that little thing up their nose.
So we need to test. So we're short on tests. For the people that are sick, what else don't we have enough of? So one at a time for me.
The face mask.
The masks, right? The masks are short, right? What else? What do you need for the people when they do have it and they go to the hospital? What do you have to make sure you have?
Gloves.
Gloves, right? Protective equipment. So all of those are short. So something that the president did. So president, toilet paper. Yes, Brooklyn, toilet paper. There's a shortage. But something, before we get to toilet paper, we need protective equipment for the healthcare workers and tests. So what the president did was called the Defense Production Act. And that's sort of like a command economy because the government is making decisions on what people make. So with the Defense Production Act, the government is telling corporations, you have to meet people's needs for these tests and beds and equipment All right. So now some car companies are making what are called ventilators. Some clothing companies are making masks. So the government has told them you have to stop what you make in order to make the things to meet people's needs during this pandemic. All right. Yes.
You know what pandemic means?
Do I know what it means? It means I can't give you the I can't give you the technical definition, but I know to meet the needs of a pandemic. So to meet the needs of the pandemic, it's a little more than an outbreak. It has to be global, right? It has to affect almost all countries in the world. So it's a little bit more extreme than an outbreak. Outbreaks are bad. Pandemics are really bad, right? But the Defense Production Act is kind of like a command economy because the governments are telling people what to make. Okay? Now, is the United States a command economy? Does the government tell companies what they have to make? All the time?
No.
No. So we're not a command economy. Okay? So we're gonna recap. Alternate name is command economy. The government makes decisions. The goals are here. An example would be Nazi Germany in 1930. Another example would be North Korea. They're still a command economy, and that's in your reading. We didn't get to that. Okay. Advantages was a government will provide jobs and fair access to resources and services. Disadvantages is it's often difficult for the government to give out the resources properly, and government officials who lie and cheat can influence the system. Okay, so we've completed the right side of our graphic organizer on page 8. Okay, what I need you to do between now and Thursday, is I need you to read pages, wait, where are we at? Okay, yes. I need you to read page 6 and 7, source C. You're going to read 6 and 7. And you're going to go back to page 8, and you're going to complete the middle column for our graphic organizer on page 8. Give me some thumbs up if you understand what you are doing between now and Thursday. You're going to do the exact same thing we did with source B and complete the middle column. Give me some hearts and some likes if you can tell me what you're supposed to do. Not getting any hearts. I don't think anybody knows what they're supposed to do. So we just read source B on the command-oriented economic systems. We completed the right side of the chart. What you're going to do between today and Thursday when we meet again at 1 o'clock is you're going to read source C on page 6 and 7, and you're going to complete the same questions for the middle of the chart. Okay? All right, so I need everybody to listen very clearly for the rest of just a couple things we need to announce. Our quarter is over this week, so you have until Friday to get me all of the stuff from your spring break packets and from your religious freedom packets. If you already turned it into the school, I'll go pick those up this Friday, and I'll make sure you get your grades for it. I promise you, if you did the work, you will get credit for it. Yes. Secondly, we have to keep up with our pacing. I'm going to put the pacing schedule on my page, and it tells you what you need to do on your own and how often you need to be working. And you want to keep up with the pace because our units are only 2 weeks now, and then we move on to a new unit. So we're going to be working on Europe and the economies this week and next, and then we're going to move on to Africa. Africa will be our last 2 units, okay? So make sure you're following the pace. If you need a copy, and you don't have one, let me know and I can email you a copy, or I can take pictures and send you a copy. The way you let me know is to send me an email or send me a direct message. If you DM me, I will get you a copy, or I will get you pictures of the pages. But I do need you to let me know. All right. If Michaela's still on, I will make sure I get you a copy. I don't think she's still on. All right. I will get you a copy of whatever you need. Okay. And the last thing, I will be putting a little bit of information on the page that will help you prepare for our live session. So make sure that you're checking my page. And if I post something, make sure you read through it and pay attention to it so I can make sure we're good to go. Okay. If there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you all go because we're over our time. I miss you all terribly. I wish I was in school with you all, but I want us to stay safe. So we have to do it this way. Okay. But I'll stay on for a couple more minutes if anybody has questions. And if not, you all have a great one. Make sure you read pages 6 and 7 and complete that middle chart for Thursday. Cool. Any questions on teams? No. All right. I do miss you guys, and be safe. You too. All righty. Bye. Goodbye to everybody on live.
See
ya. Later. Oh, Naquan. Later. All righty. I'm going to go ahead and end it. Wait. End. Yes. End.